welcome to the Movie Cheer podcast. I am your host, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and today's topic will be predicting the next Avengers movie team. That is right. We are going to look a few years ahead into the future of the MCU and try and predict the team, what will be the main core team for the next Avengers movie. Now, at this moment in time, we don't know what the next Avengers movie will be. We don't know exactly when it's going to be. But I just thought it would be a fun topic to look at what is going on with the current slate of Marvel movies coming out over the next couple of years and the TV show side of things as well. And to kind of just have a look and see if we can predict what the next Marvel Avengers team will be. So that is going to be today's headline topic, ladies and gents. Before we get into today's headline topic, we're going to start off the show with the part of the show called Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. This is the part of the show where we ease into the rest of the show and just have a general chit chat about what's going on here with the Movie Cheer podcast community and what's going on with the channel and the podcast as a whole. So let's get into it. First of all, I just want to say we relaunched the podcast last week from the original name of the Saturday Movie Show to now this new name of the Movie Cheer podcast. And I got to say, after announcing that and doing the first show, all positive vibes from the community, the Movie Cheer podcast community or the Movie Cheer community, whatever we will call it, from this point forward. Let me know your thoughts. But it's been great positive feedback from everyone, and I appreciate all the positive feedback on the name change. And it's been fun. It's been a fun week of just changing stuff over and going. You know, we're at the start of this new journey here in the Movie Cheer community, and I'm really pumped to see where this goes and where Movie Cheer Town moves forward. You know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting over the next couple of months, I'm sure. But big thank you to everyone for the really kind and supportive messages of the change of the name and the change of direction for the show moving forward. You will also see now, well, I think I announced it at the end of last week's show that hopefully the podcast, the Saturday, I have to keep on recorrecting myself now, the Movie Cheer podcast, it will now be available as a podcast in podcast audio form. Just the Saturday show at the moment, the big like magazine show as a whole. We need like a name to define which one's which, because I was thinking, do we call this like the weekend show or the weekend edition or the movie magazine, movie topic edition, the weekend, and then we do like, because sometimes we might do like a midweek edition of the Movie Cheer podcast as well as like the normal Thursday video. We need some names here. Let me know if you've got some name ideas. Let me know. I'd love to hear some ideas. But as of now, the Saturday podcast, the Movie Cheer podcast, is going on to all your well-known podcast apps, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Was it Stitcher? There's a ton of them out there, isn't there? There's I can't even remember. It's on a few of those now anyway. That's been sorted this past week. I believe some of them still, it's taking its time to set up. It can take a couple of days. So let me know if you listen to it on a particular app. I feel like I've done most of them, mostly like the main ones, but there's one that you listen to and that you'd like to listen to it on the podcast, and it's not available currently, let me know and I'll try and get it sorted, see if we can get it sorted out on that particular app. But yeah, that's another little step forward this past week, getting the podcast version set up. I put a notice on, a comment on the latest video, the Thursday video, mentioning whether you would like to see the midweek videos in an audio format as well as the Saturday podcast episodes. Let me know. I mean, if you would prefer some of them to be exclusive to video version format on YouTube, I'm happy for it to be like that. If you'd like pretty much all the content available as audio formats as well, I'm happy to do that as well. It's easy enough to do. I don't mind doing it. I'm a guy who probably listens to podcasts more than watching YouTube videos. I just I live for listening to podcasts. I love podcast audiobooks. anything, because I do like a lot of walking and stuff like that. And if I'm working out, I'll have headphones on or I'll listen to my phone. Or if I'm walking, like I said, I've got the headphones on as well. I'm always kind of doing something where I have a podcast on. So I do that a lot more than watching YouTube. Even though I watch a lot of YouTube as well. But podcasts are my gem, and that is why I'm happy that it's I think a lot of the people in the community are similar to myself. Hopefully, you'll like podcast versions as well. So you can pick and choose now. If you want to listen to the podcast version, you can. If you want to watch it as a video on YouTube, maybe you're watching it now as a video on YouTube, it is there as well as an extra, as an alternative, isn't it? There you go. But anyway, that is that few little announcements here. We had the latest video this past week hit the channel. It was Best TV Shows Coming in 2022. This was a fun video to do to look at the TV shows for this year. There's some great TV shows that are coming out this year in 2022. I am super excited to see some of these. We had a few people in the comments on that video mentioning a few different series, and it was great to see all like the different type of shows that were being mentioned. So if you want to get deep diving into them comments, join the conversation, join the Movie Cheer community and get involved in the conversation of what topics and what TV shows you are most looking forward to seeing this year in 2022. I will say also as well, last bit of not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping for today's episode. What I would like is, like I said, I think I mentioned last week, would like more of the community's input on the shows moving forward. So I would love it to hear potential topics you'd like to hear on future episodes. And I've got I've got two things. If you have a topic you would like to see discussed, like today's topic, predicting the new Avengers team, if you'd like a topic being discussed, either put it in the comments below. I'm happy to do it that way. Or if you have a movie question you'd like to have answered on another video or a midweek video, you'd like something answered, or a topical video for a midweek discussion, leave it in the comments or drop me an email at SaturdayMovieShow50@hotmail.com. It's not it's the old email address, but I'm reusing it. I'm recycling email addresses. That's what we do here on the Movie Cheer podcast. We make things happy and we recycle. That's the way we go. So that's it. So if you've got I'd love to have more input on the show and more, definitely more community input, and just make this more of a community-driven show for 2022. Make it as community-driven as we possibly can here on the Movie Cheer podcast. But anyway, that is the not-so-worthy blockbuster housekeeping section of today's show out the way. Let's move on with the headline topic. So today's headline topic, predicting the next Avengers movie team. This is an exciting one for me. As a big Marvel movie fan, I am very excited to deep dive into this topic today for today's Movie Cheer podcast. So I will just say, let's look first of all. I wanted to, before we get into this, I want to, throw a few questions out there before we really get into the core of the team and who will be on it. The first Avengers movie is 2012 now, so it is 10 years ago we had the first Avengers movie. It's 2022 as of filming this podcast episode today, and that is just unreal. 10 years ago that movie came out. That is surreal. Such a great movie. Still, for me, holds up to this day as a great superhero comic book film. I think it's fantastic. And just as a big team-up movie, the Avengers, the first one is superb. I think I've enjoyed all the Avengers movies. I think they've all been really good. And they've all have different experiences with each one. I think each one offers something very different. And I've really enjoyed what we've seen from the Avengers in the MCU so far. But let's look at this. I think looking at the last movie the last two movies, it felt like, specifically the last one. I mean, we look at the Avengers, the core members. It switched around. You have like a main core group, but by the end of it, it was kind of like an army of Avengers. It wasn't like a core group, was it? It felt like an army of Avengers. So I think moving forward into a future Marvel Avengers movie, whatever it may be, we will discuss that. What will it potentially be in a moment? But I think it's got to go down to a small core member of characters and cast. I think you've got to look back at what the original movie had and go for that same similar number. So the first movie had 6 core members to it. It featured 4, Hulk, Hawkeye, Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow. They were the 6 core original members of the Avengers. And I think you have to go back to just like make it simpler. Don't have a big, massive group. I think you could do the next Avengers movie with a small core group of Avengers and then move it forward into maybe at the end of that movie tease further members joining and kind of take a step back to go a step forward. I think that's the best way they could move forward with the Avengers movies now, looking at it now. But yeah, so they were the 6 core members for that first movie. And let's take a look. So we got Phase 4 now. We are in Phase 4 of the MCU now. So that was Phase 1. This is Phase 4 we're currently in. And I want to look at basically what has come out already in Phase 4 of the MCU on the TV show side of things and the Marvel movie side of things. And really just take in all of what's here now and what is coming. So first of all, we've had Black Widow, we've had Shang-Chi, we've had the Eternals, we've had the recent Spider-Man movie, we've got Doctor Strange coming up, the second Doctor Strange movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the Captain Marvel 2 movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. These are all going from like 2021 up until 2023 currently. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Blade, Ant-Man Quantumania, Fantastic Four, and then we got like on the Disney Plus side of things, we've had the WandaVision show, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If series, Miss Marvel, it's coming soon, Hawkeye, which has already come out, She-Hulk is coming out this year, we've got Moon Knight coming out this year as well in March, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and I Am Groot, which is an animated show, I believe, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So, looking there, we've got a huge amount of content and films and movies and TV shows in Phase 4. I'm not even going to look at Phase 5 yet. There's nothing that's been announced to my knowledge of Phase 5. I think the Avengers movie, what we're going to discuss here for this team, is going to come at the end of this Phase 4. I think, there's lots of stuff there, lots of different properties. I think it would be a good sign-off, and they've not announced it yet, but if they did it in like 2024, the Avengers movie, the next Avengers movie, which would be the 5th Avengers movie. What will that Avengers movie be? There's been a lot of speculation. I think it will be this. I think it's going to be Secret Wars, based on this comic book. I think it probably will be a lot different to what this comic book is, like a lot of the adaptations in the MCU. But I think this will be the basis of what the movie will be. And I think a lot of people have said this. And I think a lot of people say it because it seems like the next obvious choice to tell a story within the MCU. Secret Wars, the basis of the story is the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, a bunch of villains all get pulled into this mysterious planet by this mysterious force, and they've got to battle each other to get off this mysterious place. And that's the basis of the story, really. So it really pulls in all these characters into an unknown territory to battle against each other. I think that would be an opportune time to introduce your new main core members of the Avengers team. I think it would also be an opportune time to maybe feature the X-Men for the first time, maybe, or the Fantastic Four in that sort of role within the movie, Avengers movie. Not necessarily within the Avengers team, but I think in an Avengers movie as well. And then you can have a whole host of new villains, maybe across the multiverse of villains coming in to step into that movie as well. So I think that would be a great starting point for for the next movie and what the story could be. So who will be in my selection for the core members of the Avengers team? Let's go for it. So we're gonna have 6 members. Now we've looked at all the properties coming out in Phase 4. This is what my selection is going to be, ladies and gents. So we've got my first choice will be, and these are not, I'm going to mention who I think will be the leader of the group at the end. This is in no particular order, but we're going to start off my selection with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange, is my first choice in the Avengers team. I just think, he has featured in like the last 2 movies, and I feel like this next Avengers movie, he's featured in so many. He's been in this more recent Spider-Man film. He was in that. He's got the Multiverse of Madness coming out. Maybe he'll feature in other properties along the way as well. I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch is a strong actor to put in there, and a lot of people know him. He's got good name value, and I think people like the character of Doctor Strange. I certainly do. I think he's a really cool character, and I think you've got to move into, if you're potentially going into these different worlds, and you need that magician, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, for things related to like otherworldly activities. If you're going to this other strange world, so I think Doctor Strange is going to be a firm choice for me. So he's my first choice. Second choice, right? I will say now, by now, if you've not watched it, I am sorry, but if you've not watched, I will give you a little spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. I've seen everything online now. I've seen pictures, videos online, but I'm still aware that some people might not have watched it. But if you've not watched the new Spider-Man movie as of yet, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers from this point forward, ladies and gents. I'm being kind. Look, I think Spider-Man will feature in this movie, in this next Avengers movie. Even though it is a Sony property and it seems like Sony are doing their own thing, I still think we will get a Spider-Man in there. But which version of Spider-Man? Who will play this version of Spider-Man? Will it be Tom Holland returning from his fantastic trilogy of movies? Will it be Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire's version returning? Look, I was torn between this because I think there's been loads of rumours that Andrew Garfield specifically really wants to come back and do more movies. And I think Tobey Maguire would probably come back as well. But I think Andrew Garfield more so has been in the news a lot. You see him saying he'd love to return to the role. I think, personally, I do think Tom Holland will feature because it's Tom Holland, Spider-Man. He is the obvious. He's the main Spider-Man moving forward. It's so obvious that he is. I can't ever see them doing an Amazing Spider-Man 3 or another Tobey Maguire movie. I just can't see it happening. But this would be a good point to maybe say, let's give Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man a rest for now, and because the ending for me was really perfect because it kind of set up this new Spider-Man who just, everyone knows him. It's only Spider-Man. No one knows his identity. And he's just like this local hero, this local superhero in New York City. And he's just doing small time activities of saving the neighborhood. And I think if you pull him out of that before you even do the next Spider-Man movie, it takes away a bit from the ending there where he's just this own figure. And it's like, do you feature him in that movie and not take off his mask and reveal Tom Holland at all? It just seems so silly. But I think if you do it in a way, if you do it with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, it could work better. And if he reveals his identity without revealing his name, he takes off the mask, there's not going to be repercussions, is there, for his character, because he'd be pulled in from another universe. So for me, I think Andrew Garfield would be a good choice to feature his Spider-Man. I think a lot of people liked him in that Spider-Man movie. I for what it's worth, I enjoyed the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I thought they were okay at the time. I'm never a big Spider-Man fan. I thought they were okay, but in all truth, I probably thought they were the weaker of the three trilogies. They weren't the best ones, and at the time, I was like, I thought they were okay, but out of the three Spider-Man, I probably would have said he was the worst. But I watched that Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man film, and I was totally changed my mind on Andrew Garfield. I was really impressed with his performance in that movie. I thought he was very likable, and it made me want to see more of him as Peter Parker and him as Spider-Man as well. So I would really be interested to see him in that role in this next Avengers movie. So Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield version, is my second choice. My third choice is going to be Sam Wilson as Captain America. I think it's just fairly obvious. You know, at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, it says a Captain America 4 movie is going to come soon. They announced it then. And it's Captain America. You can't have an Avengers team without Captain America. It's got to happen. So I think this would be a great time. I think we're going to see Captain America 4 in Phase 5 now. I don't think it's going to be Phase 4. I think it's going to be Phase 5. So we're looking at, what, like 2025 maybe? Maybe it could be earlier than that. Maybe it will be Phase 4. But I think it will come after this Avengers movie. I think that's the way it would work. But I think he would be a strong character. People know his character as well now. They've seen him in the previous Avengers movies. And I think people like him. I think he's a great character. And I think it would be just great to see the new version of Captain America in a mainstream Avengers movie. Yeah, I think that would be great to see. I thought he was great in the show, and I loved the ending of that show where he gets a new suit, the Captain America suit, and I'm excited to see him in an Avengers team. So Sam Wilson, Captain America, he is my choice for this movie. And I don't think Bucky will feature. I don't think it'll be Sam and Bucky. I think it'll be Sam on his own in this movie. And I don't think we'll see a Chris Evans. I don't think at all. My next choice, fourth choice, will be She-Hulk. She-Hulk is my fourth choice. So we got the She-Hulk TV show coming up this year, 2022. I think, is it Tatiana Maslany, is it? I think that was her name. I'm pretty sure. Probably got notes somewhere here, but I'm looking forward to seeing that show. That show is going to feature Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, Bruce Banner in that as well, the cousin of the Hulk. Look, I think she will feature over the Hulk because I think it's just give us something new. Give us something new. We've had the Hulk in all these movies before. Let's give the audience what they want. They still want a Hulk in there, but let's give them a new version of the Hulk, and that is She-Hulk. So I think feature She-Hulk. I think the show is going to be great. I'm really excited for the show. I think it's going to be great. The fact we're going to get this like lore type show that's going to have a comedy and drama elements. I think that's going to be a fantastic show to watch. I can't wait to see what they do with that on the Disney Plus side of things. I think the Disney Plus shows have been really cool, and I think that will be, incorporating one of them Disney Plus shows into the big movies is a big step in bridging the gap between the movies and TV shows, and to say to the audiences who may not be watching every single TV show, to say to them that the TV shows are important and they're just as important as the movies now, and you should be watching everything. So I think She-Hulk will feature in the next Avengers lineup. So let's move forward with my fifth choice today. My fifth choice will be Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson. She has featured in the previous entities of the Avengers team. Look, I'm not a massive fan of Captain Marvel, the movie. I thought it was okay, but it's probably not one of my favourite MCU movies. And the character in general, I thought it was a bit boring. And even in the Avengers films, it just didn't work with me, didn't click. But I feel like there's something there. I think there's something there. Brie Larson is a very talented actor. And I think it would be, again, it's a name value. I think she won like an Oscar, this actor, Brie Larson. She's a very, very good actress, actress, whatever you want to call them. I think it would be a shame not to feature her, because I think there's more to Captain Marvel. I think just given the right story, people would click with that character a lot more. And I think I was like that with Thor originally. The first two Thor movies, they didn't click with me. Then I seen Ragnarok and I was like, boom, that's it. Straight away, I'm like, I'm a Thor fan. I like it. This is what I like. I think it's a great character. And I think that's what Captain Marvel needs. And maybe with this upcoming movie, The Marvels, I think it's called, I think that could be the opportunity to get audiences really clicking with that character. My sixth and final choice for this new Avengers team goes to Shang-Chi. That's right, Shang-Chi. I loved that movie. It came out last year, and it was a movie I wasn't super excited for in the lead up to it, but I watched it and I thought it was just incredible. I love the character. I love to see this like mystical martial arts, area of the MCU. I thought it was really exciting. It was something fresh for me as a viewer. I think the Shang-Chi character as well. He's a cool character. He's got comedy chops. The guy who plays him, Simu Lee, and I just think it's another fresh face to the lineup of Avengers, and it'll show a different side of the Avengers as well. You've got this martial arts guy in the mix. Look, he's going to be the guy replacing the likes of an Iron Man in there, isn't he, or a Thor? For me personally, I think he'll be a great addition to the lineup, and I can't wait to see him in the Avengers next movie. But I want to talk about briefly some of the big names that I have not featured here and why. I think Thor now is a character where we've kind of seen a lot of his range in the Avengers movies. I feel like he has been like a bit of a B-side player, and then in the last couple of movies really put into the main area as one of the main players in the Avengers. I just feel like we need to take a breather from Thor in the big team-up movies and give some other characters a chance. So that's why I've not featured him in the Hulk, as I said, and Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I've given my reasons as to why I don't think they should feature. I think Black Widow, obviously Scarlett Johansson wouldn't feature. It would be Yelena Belova's character. I feel like she needs to stay on the TV side of things for a few more series and feature her across the Disney Plus shows for a bit longer and build her up as a character there before we bring her into the main stay of the MCU Avengers movies. And I feel the same way about Kate Bishop. I think keep them like low-level crime and low-level Marvel events for now. And in a future Marvel movie, potentially after this, you could do like another Civil War movie, a Civil War 2, with like maybe the Avengers versus the X-Men, and that's where you could feature those characters then. But I think for now, keep them on their individual shows, build up their own properties in them shows. Hawkeye, do a Black Widow TV show, something like that. For now, I really do think those characters should be brought up at some point in the future because I think they're going to be great characters, and I really do enjoy those characters. Another ones like Fantastic Four, I think it's too early for them. Maybe they could feature at the end of the movie and feature in a Civil War, potentially in a future film. Ant-Man, I'd keep him on Ant-Man and the Wasp. I would keep them to their own little universe for now. Let them tell their own stories. Black Panther, I feel like really mixed because I don't know who the next Black Panther will be for one, and that movie at the moment I don't know what to expect. So I feel like it's too early to say that the Black Panther character will feature because we don't know what to expect and who will play that role in the next in the next Black Panther movie at this moment in time. Guardians of the Galaxy and the Eternals, they are two more that I just feel like keep them to their own things. I don't think we're going to see another Eternals movie. I think that the characters in that movie will feature maybe in Guardians movies or other movies, maybe in a future Avengers movie. But I just think it's too early and just keep them to their own thing for now. You don't have to throw everything into the pot straight away. You don't have to throw every ingredient in. Sometimes you can just take a few ingredients out and just have a few ingredients to get the great taste you want from a film. They are my choices, and my leader for the team has got to be... I think you're going to go with co-leaders again. I think the first group was co-leaders with Iron Man and Captain America. I think here you're going to have Captain America and Doctor Strange as co-leaders of the Avengers team in the next Avengers movie. So ladies and gents, that is the headline topic over and done with for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on with the rest of the show. So now we move on with the rest of the show, and we're now on to the next part of the show called Movies for the Weekend. This is the part of the show where I give you some recommendations for movies to watch this weekend or this upcoming weekend whenever you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. We have got two recommendations here. First of all, this one I thought I'd recommend it because I have seen, I think it was by Mattel, the toy manufacturer Mattel, have released a figure of this character, and it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the Scorpion King movie. They released a figure for his character, or like a teaser for the character, a toy line for it this past week, years after the release of this movie. But it was a great movie, a spin-off of the Mummy films. I really enjoyed it. It was like one of the, I think this might have been The Rock's first movie, or his first like main one as the main guy. It was a really good. It wouldn't have been his first movie because his first one would have at least been The Mummy Returns, but this probably was his first one where he was the headline actor in this. But a great film, and really, maybe people look back on this and don't have fond memories. I have fond memories for this film. I think it's a really cool film to watch. Well worth checking out if you've never watched The Scorpion King. So next up, we have also had some cool announcements on the animated movie world side of things this past week. Chicken Run 2, they made an announcement for Chicken Run 2 is coming out this year on Netflix. It was announced previously about a year or so ago, but we've got like more casting announcements this past week. I think Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, he's playing the role that Mel Gibson played in the original movie. So I think they've recast a lot of the characters, but Chicken Run is the original movie. Great Aardman classics, Aardman animations by the creators of Wallace and Gromit. Great animated movie, Chicken Run. It's kind of like The Great Escape with chickens. It's really, really silly. It's a family-friendly film. Well worth checking out. And when I talk about animated movies as well, they've announced this week that I think it was in 2024 they're going to do a new Wallace and Gromit movie. I think it's going to be a feature-length film as well, so that is going to be great. I love Wallace and Gromit. I think the Curse of the Were-Rabbit was a great film to watch. I always watch that one. I think it's a really fantastic film, so I'm looking forward to seeing more Wallace and Gromit. So they are my movies for the weekend for this weekend recommendations. Let's move on with the rest of the show, ladies and gents. So we move on to a part of the show now called the Amazon Top 10. This is where we look at the top 10 movie releases on Amazon this past week. So this is what's on the top 10 this week. We've got the DVD release at number 10 of Ghostbusters Afterlife. This will be coming out in the UK at least on January 31st. I imagine that's probably going to be very similar worldwide, the release. So that's on the Amazon Top 10 this week. At number 10. Number 9, we got Dune. I'm not too sure when that's coming out as of yet. We've got then at number 8, the Middle-earth collection featuring The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray. At number 7, we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage on Blu-ray. Number 6, we have the 4K of No Time to Die. Number 5, we have Dune 4K. Number 4, we have the Blu-ray of Dune. At number 3, we have the DVD of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Number 2, it's the DVD of No Time to Die. And then it's the Blu-ray of No Time to Die at number 2. And number 1, we have the DVD release of No Time to Die. Still, James Bond is ruling the roost when it comes to the Amazon Top 10. It is a good movie, though. Really good film to watch. But anyway, let's move on to the next section of the show. And the next part of the show is called What's Been on the Screen. So what's been on the screen this past week? So I have watched a few different films this week. I will start off with the new Scream movie. I watched this past week. I watched it yesterday. And what did I think of it? Spoiler warning, so spoilers for the new Scream movie in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you don't want to hear anything moving forward, maybe come back to the show at a later point when you've watched the movie. But the new Scream movie is kind of like a... Look, I'm not a big horror fan. I'm not a big horror fan in general. I'm really bad with blood. But I remember watching the old Scream movies a while ago, and I wasn't like... They're not that bad. They're quite tame compared to some other horror movies, I think. So I thought, let's try and watch this. I went to cinema and watched it. and it was good. We've had the new Matrix movie and Scream recently are very meta movies, and when I say meta, I mean like it's like a movie within a movie, or it's like kind of like The Office. The TV show The Office is very meta because you're getting a TV show about an office, but there's a TV crew filming it, and like the end of it, they're talking about the actual documentary within that. It's so weird, and that's like the the meaning of the word meta. I mean, if you go on Google, you probably get a better terminology than what I'm offering you. But The Matrix and this both very meta movies, and I think Scream was the best of those two. Scream had a movie within it called Stab, which was basically Scream for the people within the movie, the characters within the movie. And they were referencing this movie called Stab in this series, very jokingly at times, but while there's actual murders going on, and they're using this film to, decipher who the murderer could be. And I thought it was funny and very clever the way they did it, and I thought they did it better than the way The Matrix did it. The way Matrix did it, they said it was like The Matrix was originally a video game within the movie series, and that's what the whole world was. And I think out of those two properties, I had a lot more fun watching Scream. I think, at the end of the day, it was fairly obvious choices who the murderers were. I guessed one of them at least. I think, there was always going to be, it was going to be one of the main group. It was obvious. And but I enjoyed it. It wasn't too bloodthirsty for me personally. I thought it was quite tame. Like I said, it was a good conclusion. I feel like, look, I'm not a major fan of the series, so I can't say for sure whether there'd be more demand for another one. Watching this and what I've seen of the other movies, I probably would say there's likelihood is they'll probably do another one at some point, but it was kind of like a finale for me. It was like, for me, this is a one and done. If they do something else, it would be a completely different story, maybe. That's the way I feel about it. But I think it was done well. I think there was a lot of moments in there again, like where they reference like, movie reboots and doing things for fandom and stuff like that, and like going on Reddit boards and stuff like that. And it was so many little things where it like clicked with me as a fan of movies, and it made me laugh as a fan of movies. And it was a movie I could see it just didn't take itself serious, and I think that worked in its favour. The fact that it wasn't a movie that was super serious, and I enjoyed it for that, and I think it was a good film to watch. And it was a fun movie experience at the cinemas as well. So another movie that I've been watching this past week is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, and this is a Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet movie released in 2004. And this was actually a recommendation from Philip Coghill, and he was on the 50th episode of the Saturday Movie Show, the Movie Cheer podcast, and he recommended the year 2004 as his best year in movies. And Philip, he recommended this movie. This was he had 4 films to recommend, and this was one of his choices. And you know what? Philip has given us a great choice, a great member of the community, Philip is, and this is a great film to watch. First time watching it, and I mentioned to Philip the other day, it was a great choice, great recommendation. What can I say? It's kind of like, I think of Jim Carrey movies, he has two types of films. He has like them Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber type movies, and then he has like the Man on the Moon, Truman Show, them type of movies. And this Eternal Sunshine was in like that sort of stack of movies with like Man on the Moon, Truman Show, where he really isn't doing a comedy role. He's doing like a real acting, dramatic performance in this. And the basis of the story, without sort of ruining it too much, is his character and Kate Winslet's character, they meet, and then they're in a relationship, and then her character wants to wipe her memory, and there's a service in the city that offers a service where you can wipe your memories of a person. So say you've had like a bad relationship with someone and you want to forget it all, they can wipe all your memories. She wipes her memory, and then he finds out about it, and he decides that he wants to wipe his memory then, and then it goes within the memories, the film, within Jim Carrey's memories of him and her and their memories together. And then throughout the story, he he wants to stop it from happening. He's within his memories while his memories are being wiped, and he wants the memories to stop being wiped. And it's a really, really weird story. And then there's twists and turns with the story, and I like the conclusion. I like the ending. It's a movie where I suppose you reflect on where you are in life in a way. When you're watching this, you're like, at the end of it, you're like, it's one of those movies where you're just like, it's like a reflection movie in a way. But I think it was a really good film to watch, a really interesting movie. I like the concept, and it was a really good film. That was it. In comparison as well, I watched another film this week, and it was from another member of the movie cheer community. It was Lee in the movie cheer community. He recommended The Cable Guy, and I checked out The Cable Guy from it's Lee Cowan in the community. Another Jim Carrey movie, very different again from. Where would I put this? I would put The Cable Guy like an in-between of like Ace Ventura and Man on the Moon and like Eternal Sunshine. It's like it sits in the middle because he's like a funny character, but it's kind of like a weird. It's not a comedy. It is a comedy, but it's like a really weird comedy. The Cable Guy, basically, this was a 1990s movie. Matthew Broderick is in it, and Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey plays the Cable Guy, and he's basically playing the role of this cable guy who fits the cable for Matthew Broderick's character. But then he's kind of like stalks him. He becomes his stalker, and he's basically just a guy who is just mentally unstable, but he has some great comedy moments, and it was the first time watching it, and I thought it was a really funny film. I thought it was a really funny film and very different Jim Carrey movie. If you're expecting Dumb and Dumber, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that. You're going to get a very odd performance, but give it a chance. I would give The Cable Guy a chance. I think it's he can play a lot of different roles, Jim Carrey, and The Cable Guy is another role. He can show his great performances as an actor, and it's well worth checking out The Cable Guy if you've never seen it before. Two really different Jim Carrey movies I've watched this week: Eternal Sunshine and The Cable Guy. But both worthy of watching and well worth checking out if you've never watched them before. But anyway, that is the end of today's show. If you enjoyed today's show, please do give it a like if you're watching it on YouTube, or leave a review if you're listening to the show in any of the podcast apps as well. And let me know your thoughts on today's podcast. What did you think of today's topic of predicting the next Avengers movie team? What did you think of my choices of the team? Do you think this would be the exact team? Let me know your choices for the team of the next Avengers movie. And maybe let me know as well what you think the plot of the next Avengers movie. I'm thinking, from what everyone else is saying online, I think just looking at the comics, the next two Avengers movies will be Secret Wars and then another Civil War of some sort movie. They would be my predictions for the next two Avengers movies moving forward. But it's going to be exciting. I think we've got still to come in Phase 4 of the MCU. We've got some great films and great TV shows to come yet. We still might get some surprise announcements for Phase 4 as well along the line. Who knows? But It's been a fun show today. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great topic to discuss. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed discussing it as well. I want to say, remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.